Hey, my lovely, lovely, wonderful people. A pleasant Sunday afternoon to you and happy International Women's Day to all our lovely ladies, to the wonderful and the sweet women, the women, sorry, who are stalwarts, women who have really fought, for gender equality and unity, and for them to be treated as the honorable human beings that they are and that they were created as the leaders, co-leaders to our gentlemen that we were created to be as well. There's something beautiful, people, that maybe somebody with a little bit more insight can perhaps clarify for me. I don't know if clarification is the word, but I want some perspective on it because I've been thinking about it for a long time. And it's something that kind of boggles my mind. It disturbs my equilibrium, to say the least. I'm disturbed by, usually I see this in church entities, in the churches, and it's not every church, obviously. You probably don't see this in mega churches, but maybe more medium to small, I don't know, small to medium, I don't know. Churches where, to be honest with you people, and I want to clarify something, I believe in voluntarism. I believe in volunteering. But I think the volunteering that we're doing is becoming exploitative, to be honest. And there are so many people with expertise in whatever field that they're expert in. So whether it's speaking, whether it is singing, whether it is dancing, whatever your gift is, they're experts at it, maybe they're trained. And I find that the churches tend to exploit the people. So they will have them going here and there and singing, and they don't even cover the cost of the shoe that they're going to wear to the event. Not even the cost of the shoe. I won't even talk about gas. I won't even talk about food. They don't care about. They make the assumption that all is well with people. And one of the things, it's never good to assume. You know what it says? It makes an ass out of you and me. When you assume, because some people can look great, 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 great on the outside. Especially us as Jamaican people, we look good, we love to dress up. It doesn't mean that people are in the position financially to really maintain. Sometimes it's gifts that are given to them, and they just maintain that kind of a thing. If they get someone is here and there, they will buy stuff and whatnot. But in truth and in reality, and I'm making this reference as it relates to Proverbs 18:16, where it says a man's gift, when it's a man, it means men and women, will make room for you where God presents you before kings and queens. In our modern day, using modern day language, what it is saying is that whatever gifts and talents you are, God will make people with wealth and fame and clout and influence, get you to get the same wealth and the fame and the clout because they're pleased with your level of skill, your level of ability and competence and talents. All right, so they pay you for your service because it is a service offered. If you look under the feminist principle and theory, what they hypothesize, especially where women are concerned, because women were subjugated, and that is why you had the whole feminism coming to the fore. It was so bad for women that they could not even vote. It's almost like they were treated like a goat. I mean, an animal. Like they're not. There is no sensibility. In fact, when they talked about knowledge back in those times, when they spoke about knowledge and sovereignty and dominance and power, it was about male. So when you say somebody is a critical thinker, somebody is knowledgeable, they weren't referring to women. They were actually referring to men, because women were subjugated. They were not considered important, in that sphere, in that aspect. You were secondary, you were inferior, while the men being superior. And then the women had to come through adult suffrage and so on and so on. And then they had the first wave, second wave, third wave, and I think now the fourth wave feminism that incorporates technology and all kinds of things. But I'm bothered by the fact that churches in particular, you have other entities too, that will know that somebody is talented in something and they exploit it and they don't pay them. I have a major problem with that. I was speaking with my very, very good friend for many, many years. And he said, he went online. He just wanted to see something with the late and great. And for me, she was the best singer ever. That is Whitney Houston. Everybody who knows me knows that that's my singer. And he said there was a particular concert she did in the 90s or the 80s. I can't remember what he said, but 80s, 90s, whichever, many years ago. And for that particular concert, she had charged them 7 million US dollars. Now, even today, that is a lot of money. Even today, for that particular concert. You know, and he was talking about Mariah Carey, her general fees like $1 million and whatnot. Because so what people don't understand, they have to pay their taxes. And you know, there's a percentage. They have to pay the people that work with them, the musicians, the technical team, the production. By the time you, and so she has to ensure that when she pays out everything, a substantial amount of money comes in her pocket. Because you know that she knew that her predecessors went through hell financially. They were exploited. This is not a guess or a spell, especially the female artists, you know. And that is why people, you have to be careful how you, I used to kind of chide and be judgmental of those who, I want my money and a this and a that, and they went to go on some ways. People, unless you're in it, you can never understand. It is horrible to know that you have a gift and a talent that the Bible says God will make you earn from and become influential, or you have clout as well, because he says it make room. That is what he's saying. So you're going to earn socially, financially, and otherwise. And then you have other people exploiting the talent, especially when you know you go and train. What a lot of people don't understand, you know, it is physically, mentally, emotionally draining when you have to be rehearsing, for example, for an event. You think it's something that you just get up and you have an event next week and that's it. It doesn't work like that. You know how much the energy that comes from an individual, like me, I have a very strong voice. I'm a strong singer, and I give my all when I'm singing. I sing and I do all kinds of riffs and gymnastics and give that vocal prowess, because I believe in doing greatly, you know, especially if it is for God, And I give, and then when you look, not even dollar coming in your pocket. It is not about sensationalizing or commercializing the gospel. You know what I mean? But money answers all things. People have to eat. You have to eat. No matter how you could have spirituals until you're in the heavens. When you don't come out of that heavens, you have to go eat some food, drink some water. It costs to do that. If you drive, you have to put gas in your car. We have to be logical thinkers sometimes, because people think it's just, people say money, money, money. No, it's a fact that we can't trade without it. If you even use your shower to bathe, at the end of the month, you have to pay the water commission, the the electricity company, you name it. If you wear clothes, after a while it gets tattered and torn, you have to change. So I want people to understand the etymology behind the importance of getting money. And that is why, and it's not about you can't doing any voluntary work. People, the amount of voluntary work that people have done, the give back that people have given back. Good God, I think it is time for people to stop asking people to do voluntary work. And that is why you find these days people are not doing anything without being compensated. You notice that people have to be struggling and prodding because they saw what their predecessors went through. I really have a problem with it. I see it mostly happening in churches, you know, and especially for people who they probably say, oh, because you're a member, they don't need to pay. Really? You know how many churches that you have some not how many, you have some churches that actually pay. We could have, whether you're a member or you're a visitor, they pay you. They pay you because they consider your need. How does that segue or separate from your need? You have needs. Every single solitary human being have needs. Unless you stop eating, stop drinking, stop wearing clothes, stop using the water in your pipes, stop using the electricity at your home, stop wearing clothes, shoes, stop using deodorant, perfume. You see how many things that requires money? You don't need to pay the people. Stop this thing about voluntary. People have done so much in terms of voluntary work, and people will do it. One of the ways they do their volunteer, if you want to call it that, for example, not tithe for me should be, it's a must, but they give their offering and they may give otherwise, you know. Sometimes they can lend a helping hand for something, but it must not be something that you take to your advantage to the person's disadvantage, because you don't know the different things that associate, or the fight that they have to fight to come to these different functions. I don't need to pay the people, honestly. Guys, you know what to do with TikTok and YouTube. Subscribe, give me one of those lions, and you can follow me on Instagram. Have a good afternoon, ladies.